let's move on to article number 2. So article number 2, I found this, I think it's like a website about cars. And I know nothing about cars. So I'm 34 and I still don't know how to drive a car. I never had a driver's license. I'm not sure if I'm eventually going to get one. Because so far I'm pretty good surviving without a car here in Vancouver. So this is kind of like a funny article because it lists 20 car names which have hilarious meanings in other languages. So it's definitely not from like a typical LSP or like an article from a translator. This is definitely something new. Okay. So it's just a list of 20 car names, and I'm just going to go through them one by one. So number 1, Mazda La Puta. Car makers keep struggling with the Spanish-speaking market. A very famous example is the Mazda La Puta rebadged Suzuki K, which was produced from 1999 to 2006. The name La Puta comes from Jonathan Swift's book Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World, but sadly it's often associated with the Spanish word La Puta, which translates to the whore. Okay, he also says that he had to censor these words because otherwise the website, which is Car Throttle, wouldn't let him post it. Okay, so that was the first one. La Puta, yes, I know that word. Number 2, Chevrolet Nova or Lada Nova. Another example from the Spanish market, although this time it's far less brutal. Nova, which was used by both Chevrolet and Lada, simply translates into doesn't work, as in Nova. The British Vauxhall Nova managed to escape this fate as it was sold as the Opel Corsa in the rest of the world. I didn't know that it has this meaning. I think Nova is also like a character in StarCraft. Is it not? Okay, number 3. Hyundai Kona. You might argue that most of the cars in this list are pretty old and that the car makers probably have learned their lesson. The recently introduced Hyundai Kona proves the opposite. Its name sounds very similar to the Portuguese word Kona with C, which is a very vulgar expression for the female genital. Hyundai's solution to the problem? The Kona will be sold as the Kauai, a main island of Hawaii, on the Portuguese market. The Opel Ascona was also pretty unpopular in Portugal. Number 4. Toyota MR2. But not only Spain and Portugal get car makers in trouble, they also have their problems with the French-speaking market. A nice example is the Toyota MR2. Its name stands for mid-engine rear-wheel drive two-seater, but the French pronunciation MR2 sounds very similar to the French word merde, I see, which means shit. Toyota reacted by selling the poor man's Ferrari as the Toyota MR in France. Number 5, Audi TT Coupe. So this is like a premium car. Another example, I didn't know that this one would be also fucked up in some language. Another example from the French-speaking market, although this time the car in question kept its name. The Audi TT Coupe is pronounced similar to Tete Coupe, which is French for a cut-off head. So if you're a French murderer, look no further, this is the car for you. Okay, number 6. This is an ugly looking car. Mitsubishi Town Box. The Mitsubishi Town Box was produced from 1999 to 2011, and its box-shaped And it's a box-shaped K minivan designed for narrow town streets. Oh, I see. How could this straightforward name cause any controversies? Well, the problem was that Mitsubishi often used the abbreviation T-Box, which also seems fine, at least until you move the space between the words. Because then you're driving around in a car called Mitsubishi Shitbox. You decide if that's actually a more fitting name or just a hilarious fail. Number 7. Fiat Uno. Another car that seems to have a really straightforward name is the Fiat Uno. How can the Italian word for one cause any trouble? Well, in Finnish, uno means fool. Also pretty fitting, I guess. Hey, what car do you have? I drive a Fiat Fool. You fool. Okay, number 8. Honda Fit. Jazz. Wait, what? Oh, there are different names based on the regions. Okay, so the Honda Fit is a cool little minivan. At least in China, Japan, and America. In Europe, it's called the Jazz. But did you know that none of these names was originally planned? Honda actually wanted to call it the Fitta, F-I-T-T-A. However, they ditched the name pretty quickly when they found out that's a very rude expression for the female genital in Scandinavian languages. Number 9. Chrysler PT Cruiser. As if the weirdly proportioned retro design with the big smiling face wasn't yet controversial enough, Chrysler came up with the name PT Cruiser. In theory, PT stands for personal transportation, but in reality it's pronounced very similar to pity. Oh, but hey, let's be honest, PT Cruiser is actually a very fitting name for the thing. Number 10. Lamborghini Reventon. Yes, even $2 million supercars can have unfitting names, although this one is actually pretty hilarious. In Lamborghini tradition, it's named after a famous fighting bull. However, in Spanish, Reventon means blowout or flat tire. Let's just hope that this will never happen to the Reventon drivers, especially not at the top speed of 221 miles per hour. Number 11. Mitsubishi Pajero. Probably the most famous example is the Mitsubishi Pajero. It had to be renamed to Montero for the Spanish-speaking market. Or would you want to drive around in a car named Male Masturbator? AKA Mitsubishi Wanker? Nice. Number 12. Daewoo Espero. Would you drive a car named I Hope? Well, that's exactly what the Spanish word espero means. And although it may be actually fitting for that car, you never know if it will start, Daewoo reacted by renaming it to Aranos in some Spanish-speaking countries. Number 13. Volkswagen Jetta. The Jetta is very unpopular in Germany, but it's pretty common in the rest of the world. But how about Italy? Because sadly, the word Jetta name sounds very similar to the Italian word Ietta, which spells I-E-T-T-A, which means losing streak or streak of bad luck. And coincidentally, I featured it 13 in this list. Okay, he mentioned some lists, but there's no link. I assume it's something to do with accidents. Number 14, Ford Pinto. Take a look at the photo above. The car in front is a Ford Pinto which just received a slight tap on the back from the military vehicle behind it. And boom, it went up in flames. But it wasn't just the badly placed fuel tank which caused controversies. The name had its problems as well, at least on the Brazilian market, where Pinto is an expression for a small penis. Okay, number 15. Ugh, this is difficult for me. Citroën C-Métis. The Citroën C-Métis concept was unveiled at the 2006 Paris Auto Show. It's a hybrid shooting brake, and it can switch between, what is this, FWD, RWD, and AWD, depending on the situation. The French word métis means half caste, but sadly it also means bastard. Number 16. Ooh, fancy one. Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow. The name Silver Shadow doesn't cause any problems in different languages. However, the car was originally intended to be called Silver Mist. Rolls-Royce had to ditch that name because in German, mist is a different word for dirt or crap. Silver Shadow really is a better name for a luxurious sedan than silver shit. Number 17, Audi A3 e-tron. Sounds so futuristic. Audi sells its plug-in hybrids under the e-tron label. However, it sounds suspiciously similar to the French word e-tron, which means pile of shit. Maybe that's the reason why nobody buys it. Number 18, Ford Kuga. I think I was looking at this car at some point. The Ford Kuga is a very popular SUV, which is currently in its second generation. But does Ford know that Kuga actually stands for the Black Death, the pest, in Slovenian and Serbo-Croatian? Probably not. Otherwise, they would have changed the name pretty quickly. Number 19, Mitsubishi i-Me EV. What? This is some Japanese name or something. The Mitsubishi i-Me EV, which stands for Mitsubishi Innovate Electric Vehicle, is a small electric car which is also sold as the Citroën C0 and the Peugeot Ion. All these names sound very fancy and modern, however Mitsubishi definitely came up with the worst one. Miev sounds very similar to the German word Mief, which is colloquial for smell. This didn't quite match the environmental friendly character of the car, and so Mitsubishi renamed it to Mitsubishi Electric Vehicle. Finally, number 20, Volkswagen Vento. The Vento was introduced in 1992 as the successor of the second generation Jetta. Volkswagen wanted to change the image and increase the profit by changing the name, although they kept the Jetta name in the US and some other non-European countries as people were already used to it. The Jetta has been featured earlier on this list, and apparently Volkswagen also fucked up the new name. Vento is indeed Italian for wind, but colloquially that word is also used for wind that comes from someone's arse. So basically the car is called Volkswagen Fart. Okay, so that was the list of and here's the first comment. Volkswagen Fart, stinky air, Dieselgate. It all makes sense now. Okay, so this was the list of 20 cars with fucked up names from Car Throttle. And that was the article number 2.